What's up, my people? What's up, my homies? What's up, my friends? I'm Gnarly Vato, and these are Gnarly Times. Well, today I'm gonna talk about Fat Danny, right? Well, this used to be my homeboy, you know. Well, this fool, I've been through a lot. I went through a lot of shit with this fool, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you about the time I got in a car wreck with him, and the time we ran from the cops. Well, the time we got in the car wreck, we're we were drinking, right? And we were out there posted some spot in the cuts drinking, probably like two, 3 packs. You know, Budweiser. And then, I was probably like 20, about 21, 22 maybe. He was like 21. He's a year younger than me. Well, this fool had a Honda Sonata, right? And he had just got crossovers for his little speakers and shit, whatever. He had any car he had, he always had a speaker, right? Speakers bumping. So he got these crossovers, we're drinking, and it's me and him, then his two cousins and his cousin's best friend. So we're there, we're there chilling, whatever. They're like, hey, let's go see JR, their cousin, right? And I'm like, and it's probably like 1 in the morning, you know, 12 at night, I'm not sure, but it was somewhere around there. And that's how drunk we were. They're like, hey, and this fool's in Santa Barbara, and we're in Portugal. So he's like, hey, check it out, let's go. So they like, let's go. And I didn't have no cash. Like 3 of us did, just as fool Danny did. Well, this fool, we're on our way, right? We're almost hitting the Grapevine, and this fool, we stop at Burger King. You know, we had that little munchies, because you're drinking. Well, this fool, like I said, I was cashed out, and so he's like, hey, you want some meat? I go, shoot it. So he got me and him something, right? Well, he had 2 cousins with him, right? And his cousins like, hey, where's my food at? He's like, go buy your own. And this fool like, they're all broke too, like, I guess. And he's like, what? You ain't gonna buy me none? He's like, no, go buy your own. And this fool's like, hit Fat Danny's food, and the food went everywhere, right? And this fool Danny looked at him and just goes and buys some more, and comes back in it. This fool is pissed, cousin was like 4 years older than him. So this fool goes and sits in the car, right? Because he's mad at fool Danny. Danny didn't even feed his other cousin and his cousin's best friend. So I'm like, this fool, but he fed me. I'm like, whatever. So he done eating, we go to the car, and his cousin's in there, right? And Danny sees the security, goes, security, there's some dude in my car. Some stranger, like, called his cousin. I said, get the F in my car, right? Anyways, they start arguing. We end up getting in the car. I'm like, hey, could you calm down? Let's just head back. Because it was a bump mission, right? So now we got like 2 hours to drive back to Portugal. So all this beer we had drank, right? We only had 1 beer. And I don't know why I put it in the glove box. Like here, whatever. But anyways, we're driving back, right? We passed through Bakersfield, and we're all crashed. Everybody's sleeping except this full Fat Danny. And all I remember is we're driving. I ended up passing out. I was passenger, right? So I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden, boom! I just woke up, like, Danny's like, wake up, And I'm upside down, and I had dirt in my nose, and my mouth, my ears, just all over myself. For CDs, because back then we had CDs, they're all over the place. And he had hit by some more. It was between a little town called Ducourt and Terabella. Somewhere along there, I'm not sure, but we ran into some orange groves, and so we're there waiting. Everybody wakes up. His cousin get out. He's like, come on. And his cousin was so drunk. The older cousin that got into it was like, let's just push it over and go, Well, his little cousin, the young one, he was, I think just about high school, just got out of high school. He's like, oh, my back, But luckily, all of us were seatbelted, Anyways, the dude behind us called the cops on this fool because of the wreck, right? So ambulance came, highway patrol came. They, breath tested fool Danny. Fat Danny, and he was called, went to jail. But I think that was his first DUI, right? Well, the I'm there sitting, right? They took everybody in. Ambulance came, took all the other 3 homeboys with me, and it's just me and the dude who called the cops. And we look at each other, and well, like I said, I'm middle of Terabella. It's like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and I'm like, he looked at me, I looked at him. He's like, "You need a ride home?" And I said, "Please." You know, but he drove me. I used to live off of Main Street on Gangsters or the Old Pit, and so he dropped me off right there. You know, and that was the first time. Luckily, I the whole passenger side was smashed. The dude said it rolled like 6 times, or some crazy amount. Well, I don't even. He said his full Fat Danny swerved and then, you know, or something. But you know, I was, thank God, everything worked out alright. You know, and no one died or got hurt. You know, but that was the first time, right? Well, this fool ended up having a Regal too. A Regal. One time it was like Thanksgiving, and he comes picks me up because I drank, but not as these fools got me more into drinking. You know, not that I blame them, but they always want to party and drink. Like, all right, let's drink. But he like, hey, let's go get a beer. So he went and got 2 12-pack, 2 tall boys, right? So he starts drinking his, and I was like, he's like, well, you gonna drink it? Yeah. It's probably like 9 in the morning, 8 in the morning. I go, nah, I'm gonna wait a minute. Well, we're driving, right? All of a sudden, he's like, oh shit, I think there's cops gonna pull me over. And we're on Prospect, and we're passing Morton, right? Going towards El Nuevo and shit. And this fool, a cop guns it just from way down there. Like they knew this fool was drinking. And guns it, and catches this dude, but ended up pulling us over and shit. And I hid my beer. I didn't drink it, right? But I hid his. And in the back behind us. So they ended up taking him in for driving without a license. But I was like, man, how the hell did they, you know, take him to, what's it called? How did the cops know that shit, you know? But anyways, he's like, drive my car home. You know, tell my mom I'm in jail. He's like, don't drive it anywhere. And I'm like, fool, shut up. But anyway, I drove it home and shit, and told his mom, hey, check it out. This fool, Danny's in jail. He's like, how in the hell? He just left right now. I go, he gave him a little rundown and shit, you know? But this fool, Fat Danny, used to always disrespect his mom too, like, shut up, bitch, you did that. And she would be like, what? What? And I had to tell him, fool, you need to relax. You know? Stop disrespecting your mom. And this fool's like, well, we got into it a few times. He disrespected my mom, and I had punching on him. You know, I had to check him. Well, I checked him, but that time I punched on him. In front of his pad, matter of fact. But I always thought this fool was kind of a psychopath. Because he had told me the story that he used to put, like, sandwich meat on a fish hook. And he used to cast it right in front, wait for some cats to grab it and yank it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was off the hook. But anyways, this fool's like, that's what I'm like, this fool, psychopath. I thought I was crazy. Nah. But anyways, this fool's like, that was that time, right? Well, the next time, this when the shit was crazy, we ran from the cops, you know? Well, I used to live by Main Street in Porterville, right? Right by the little guy, you know, the Fort Meadow. Well, I used to always just go to the west side and chill, you know? My pops would go there, a few other homeboys. But I was always right here by the Main Street. So, this fool goes on and says, hey, come by my pad, like 8 in the morning one day, on Sunday. He's like, hey, let's go drink these Coronas. He had 2 cases of Coronas. He bought like 5 prior at a little party the night before, and he had all these leftovers. So, I guess he knew a homeboy who worked at AMPM at the time by Veterans Park, and they hooked him up a bunch of cases. Well, anyways, he rolls up to my pad with the Coronas, right? So he's like, come on, let's go drink. He's like, let's go pick up C. And I go, whatever. And C was crazy, right? He was around there when I got beat up in the river? Nah. But this fool, we go pick him up, right? And we're drinking, right? Just driving around, cruising, drinking. So we go to Cisco pad, like, hey, check it out. Let's roll. Start drinking. He's like, hey, let's go check out my lady. She's at her cousin's. So we by Burton, right? So we go there, the old Burton. Drove by there, stopped by. Well, at the time, remember the big TVs, right? Well, that's how I think they were coming around about that time. Been out a little while, but she had a big ass TV. I'd be like, dang, that's a nice TV, right? When we rolled up to her cousin's pad, it was a cousin's TV, and at first she said, "Don't think you're gonna steal it," and I'm like, what? I just complimented her, you know. Well, the homeboy sister's like, shut the hell up, you need to relax. You just complimented your TV. Like, how are you going to take a TV like that? You need like 5 people, 6 people to take a TV. Back in the days, you know? Not like now you can just grab one. Well, they started arguing, he started arguing with her, he stood up for me, right? So we ended up leaving. Well, we ended up coming back like 30 minutes later, right? And there was 2 dudes there that were Marines, I guess. So this fool set Cisco off, and this fool said, like, hey, this, like, told her, like, get in the car, let's go. Stupid bitch. Or me and Fat Danny looking at each other like, what the hell? Well, check this out. Prior to this, right? Like I said, I used to live on the Main Street. There was a Southsider, right? From somewhere in LA. But he wore a tank, slingshot, he had all these food and shit. And he would walk by Putnam. And one time we were in Castro, what the hell is this fool walking, thinking, it's all good. Well, I had talked to these other homeboys. They said, hey, check it out. This fool came to the other homeboy and said if it's cool, he could stroll through the hood without getting into some problems. So I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, asked the older homeboys. So I'm like, but this fool used to mug people, homeboys, like, hey, what are you gonna do? I got a green light to post up here. Well, I didn't hear nothing about that, right? I was like, this fool, I'll catch this fool. Right? That's just my opinion. Like, who? I don't give a fuck. I don't care, I don't care where he's from. You know what I'm saying? Like, but hey, anyway, yeah, what we did. But anyways, right at this time, like, he used to stroll there, just look at it like he was a shit, right? When is this gonna come into the picture? This fool's gonna come in the picture, right? Well, because one time he walked by, we're just standing like, just mugging it. Who this fool think he is? Well, anyways, back to Cisco and Fat Danny. Well, Cisco gonna get into the Marines. We ended up jumping in the ride, splitting with his old lady. So we're out driving back, just cruising, drinking, right? And Cisco's just arguing, yelling at his old lady, right? And they're like, oh, shit like that. Well, I ain't here to tell or snitch, but I'm just telling you the way it is, homie. Well, all I heard was screaming. Her hair, like, she was skinny old thing. This fool was big, like, you know what I'm saying? And her head is just going like this, sideways, just insane. Well, this fool, Fat Danny's driving, right? His mom's car, and I'm a passenger, and we're hearing all the screaming and shit, right? We're like, I said, fool, Danny, tell him to come down, fool. You should ride. He's like, I didn't tell Cisco nothing. And I go, fool. I was like, whatever. I go, Cisco, relax, homie, because I know him for a while. I was like, relax, right? Well, he's like, shut up, mind your business, blah, blah. It's like, and we're already about almost into the second pack of Coronas, and this within like an hour time when he picked me up. So this fool, he has her, right? And she's crying and whimpering. Well, he's like, shut up, bitch. Well, I told Fat Danny, stop right here. And the old driving was Applegate's right here, the old convalescent homes in Putnam, right? West Putnam and Newcomb. Well, we're right here, right before the stop sign at York, right? And this fool's They get out, he's has her like, ah, and I was like, hey, homie, relax, leave her alone. You know, I said, go beat her at your pad. Don't do it in front of everybody. And he like, this was like the first time I actually felt his power because fool was tough, strong. He's like, money on business, and just like, I was like, whoa, damn, fool, pretty damn strong, you know. But anyway, I was like, fool, he was weird. We were gonna throw it down. Like he let go of her and he squared up with me. We're like, I was like, I don't want to fight you, but that's when she kind of got away, right? So we're in the middle of the road. She started walking towards the road. So I'm like, hey, fool. And that I don't like to get in fool's business because I know they would go back to each other. You know what I'm saying? So like, what are you gonna do? Just get involved in the shit? So this fool's like, so we rolling, right? And I was on parole. So I jump in the gang like, come on, let's go. And then we've been out for like 10 minutes. Serious. Arguing, trying to get this fool to stop manhandling her and shit. It was wild. And this fool's like, we get in the car, right? We're driving away, and she gets on the sidewalk, and this fool kind of like is kind of walking west, or kind of after her, but then he kind of sees a sheriff, so he's kind of walking away. So a sheriff pulls up at the Applegates, right, and stops by the what's called the payphone, because he's kind of looking like, where's this shit at when they called in? But he sees us, right, because we're in the middle of the road. So we're driving, and this brother like, let me get in the car, and she runs up in our car, jumps in the car, right? So this fool Cisco walking away, and so we're hitting the stop sign, and this sheriff comes out like the other side and said, pull over. And this fool Fat Danny, because we're, you know, he's on the side right here, he's going, guns it, right? Down Newcomb, turns left on Toma, and turns into that first little drive right there. And turns in the last stall, like some of the last two right here. He turned in that little thing, turned to the right? And when it turned, he scratches his mom's whole side of the car. And he just took out booking it, and she did too. And I'm like, shit, I'm on parole, right? Like, got the beer. What am I gonna do? And right, all my homies are kind of like where we're at, and my paths by Main Street, right? So all I could do is run to the bar. The bar was the closest thing right there, and it was open. And it was, because I'm saying it was probably like 10 o'clock by then, 11 in the afternoon, 10, 11. So I just ran to the store, the bar, right? Go up in there, act like it was normal, grabbed a drink, see something on the walls, said, let me get one of them. Sat down, right? I just booked it over there, and I just take a drink, right? And then I look around, and I see the south side right there, looking right at me. He's like, and I'm like, drink my shit, and I was like, you lucky. I'm running right off from the cops. You know what I'm saying? But I called my lady at the, hey, come pick me up. Right here, Main Street. Can't remember the bar right there. Right across from Sierra Minimart on Newcomb and Olive. And sorry, so she come. There was all kinds of cops all over the place, looking for this fool Danny and me and the homeboy Cisco's old lady and shit. But she ended up coming, pick me up. I was like, watch out, there's cops everywhere. But she couldn't pick me up. Man, I got an earful all the way to Main Street. Oh, you know, it's like, man, I know I messed up. But this fool, Fat Danny, we used to be tight, you know, and he ended up snitching on his other homeboy, DUI, some other crazy shit I might have mentioned, you know, but it was just, you got no one to be like, Chale, homie, you know, can't chill with you no more. We don't kill. We try to walk the straight line, you know, but that fool was just a bad influence and just an overall dirtbag, you know. He treated women like shit, and it was like, I don't know. We just had to cut ties and jumped him on the way out, you know. But it was crazy back in the day. We just nonstop drink and didn't really care about our future and DUIs and, you know, nothing. That's why I'm glad to be here and realize there's more to life than just chilling and partying with your homeboys, you know. You need to be there and be around for your family, you know, your kids, your future.
and make something of yourself and not just be a low life dirtbag, you know. But this is one of my spills and about this fool Fat Danny, you know, and that's this fool. He's right there in the middle in the red, you know. But we were pretty tight, and you know, it's just what it was, short amount of time, you know. But we just have to move on and do what we gotta do, you know. But yeah, I was lucky. I got so much shit with him. I got jumped in Lindsay with him, you know. I don't know. I have to sit and think about it a few times, but these are one of these tales, man, and I'm just glad to be around to tell you these crazy tales of my life, you know. But I'm Gnarly Vato, and these are gnarly times. And stay gnarly, stay out of trouble.